Hi everyone, my name is Nader and this video is to talk about Forgetfulino, what it is, what it does, why it's useful, and what are the drawbacks of this tool. So first of all, what is Forgetfulino? Forgetfulino is both an Arduino library, so a standard one, just copy paste in your library folder, and an Arduino IDE 2-point-something extension. What does it mean? It means that this ecosystem will work only on Arduino IDE 2-point-something because it's a BS extension, so this is supported just in this kind of environment. So first of all, why is it called Forgetfulino? Because if you use it, and you use it too much especially, you forgot to do something. You forgot to have a versioning system, you forgot to do backups, and something bad happened. You lost the code because of something you forgot to do. So let's keep in mind that this is not a replacement for versioning and backup. It's just a safety net, a less line of defense where everything else fails. So please use a versioning system, use backups, otherwise this is not the right tool. And if you use it too much and you neglect to do backup and use JIT, you're basically training yourself, especially if you are an amateur and you're learning, you're training yourself to have a bad habit, and this is not good. This is not my intention. So use JIT, use backups. But what Forgetfulino does? So Forgetfulino will take the code that you wrote, the INO files, and store them inside the flash memory of your board, the flash memory of your chip. Of course, this is not magic. If you're storing the machine language and also the plain text or the compressed text representing your code, this the sketch will increase a lot, even more than twice its size. So this is really important to take in consideration. This is not magic, and this is not suitable if your project are that big that fills all the memory of your board. So take in consideration, this is good for small, medium projects, even lengthy one, but not for really large projects. So, and anyway, for large projects, you have to use versioning, as I said before. So as for real world scenario, I had many situations where I wish I had this tool. And like for example, you are in the field and you are in a rush, you change the hardware, I don't know, because the pin burned or something happened, and after 3 years you have to make a modification to this hardware, and it's quite challenging. If you didn't have a versioning system, you were in a rush, you changed, or you work in a team where someone just isn't about versioning, so it's really hard to keep track of everything that is happening on the hardware. So at the end of the day, the hardware is the single source of truth. We cannot disagree with that. The single source of truth is the hardware. So the versioning system is just a digital twin that represents what potentially could be in the hardware, but the link between the hardware and JIT is always the person. And that's, you know, if you work in technology as long as me, you know for sure that the weakest link here, the weakest link of the chain is the human. So this is to have a safety net in case, of course, human error, in case of forgetfulness. Yeah. So now let's dive into the installation of the Forgetfulino. It's just a copy paste of two folders. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that's what it is. So it's standard library. So the library just copy paste or install from JIT. And the extension, at the beginning, I thought that installing an extension could require more time. It's just a copy paste of a folder inside a specific folder that I'll show you in a moment. This really surprised me because, you know, with the extension you can do a lot of things, and I really had fun developing this thing. So let's see how it works. So Regarding the installation, we have this is the representation of the JIT that you will find on GitHub, and you have two folders. This one you don't really need it unless you want to build your extension. So it's 100 megabytes, but you don't have to download it. The important things is this part, so the Forgetfulino main, that is basically the standard Arduino library, no more no less. As you see, the weight here is 211 kilobytes. So you just copy this in your library folder and you will have it here. So this folder is this folder. In this folder you will find the standard file of the Arduino library plus the folder extensions. In this folder you have the README that explains what this is, and this is the real king of the situation. This is the actual extension of the Arduino IDE. I remind you that this is working only on Arduino IDE 2 point something. So this is really important to point that out. So copy this folder, this extension folder, inside this .arduino IDE. This .arduino IDE is where the settings, visual settings, and everything else of your Arduino IDE are stored. So you may not have the folder extension, so you just copy paste it. But if you have it, because if you have other extension, is okay. So how we verify that we actually installed correctly the Forgetfulino? So to do so, we open deploy plugins. It should be empty, and we basically just open the Arduino IDE. Once we open the Arduino IDE, the extension is basically installed, and we are clear to go. So the extension is installed and ready, and we will see in a moment all the feature of this plugin and of the library. So here we go. Let's see how this Forgetfulino works. So first of all, every time we modify the sketch and we save, we generate this .h file that are the headers that will be uploaded, depends on the function that we will call later. Quite interesting thing, the extensions allow us to insert the options inside the right click, so there's no command line, nothing. The GUI here is quite straightforward, and now we are basically seeing what is going to happen. So as I shown you here, if I change something in the code, the header will be generated automatically. So let's do something like this, and as you see, the header are generated automatically. But we could also decide to deactivate the auto generate on save. So for example, here I save, I'm saving, Control S, but as you see, nothing happens. So we can decide to generate headers manually, so that's an option. But in our case, especially for those examples that we are doing today, I will keep it activated so every time I make a modification, the H file will be generated. So let's dive inside the other option. First of all, the auto-inject, the inject function. So in the inject, you have two options: inject in setup or inject in loop. Now I'll show you the difference. So first of all, I inject in setup. When I click this, I basically have this injection of Forgetfulino inside the serial, inside the setup, and not inside the loop. In this case, Forgetfulino is inserted in setup. Why? I'll show you in a moment. Okay, let's go to serial monitor, and as you can see, the code is printed right away. This is handy, but this is a really short code. A short code and also mean a short string. If we are printing a really long string, it means that the Arduino needs to wait for a couple of seconds before going in the real loop and finishing the setup. I didn't like that, so I added another function that we will see in a moment with the inject in the loop. Here the situation is quite different, because here we have Forgetfulino is here, so we know that we have the library and then everything is running fine. But if I write Forgetfulino, then the string is printed. So in this case, we don't have to wait for the print to end. Another cool feature is the auto-inject, and I'll show you in a moment. So let's say that we have this example here, and this is basically the example, the bare minimum of Arduino. When you create a new sketch, you will have this one. So what I created is the auto-inject function. The auto-inject function, if you activate one of those, what is happening is Forgetfulino reacts to all new sketches, and when the sketch is saved, is basically auto-inject its component in order for you to have Forgetfulino in all the new sketches that you have. Of course, if you have a sketch with something, like for example, let's deactivate for now, and let's put, for example, let's save, and let's reactivate the auto-inject function. As you can see here, I am generating the H file, but the auto-injecting is ignoring this sketch because it's not the bare minimum. So it works only on new sketches. And of course, you can deactivate the auto-inject. So now let's see the various functions that we have with this Forgetfulino. Let's inject also this with setup, and I want to show you another thing. If we have a program where the serial is already there and we inject the Forgetfulino, as you can see, the serial begin is not reprinted again, it's not re-injected again, because otherwise you would have two serial you would have two serial begin, and I don't like that. So if you already have a serial begin, all the Forgetfulino chunk of code will be placed after the serial begin that you have here. Okay, cool. So let's see how Forgetfulino works. Let's upload the code. Let's go to serial. And now we have this string. This string needs to be copied. We can paste it here. We select it again, right click, and we choose decode compress dump. As you see here, we have basically a decompress dump of our software, of our code that we had before. Quite important, this is a comment. Okay. We can also deactivate the comment. So click to deactivate comment in dump. So let's save it again. Let's upload. Let's go to serial monitor. And as you can see, we don't have the comment that we inserted. This is another comment. I'll explain it to you in a moment. So we can then reactivate the comment in dump. Let's save the file and upload again. And here we will have dump, and when decompressed, we also have the comment. But take in consideration that the line when we decompress something will disappear, will be deleted, because you don't need it anymore. So it will be deleted automatically. You can also decide to print the code in plain text. So here, if you use this kind of function, you will have this behavior. So as you see here, you have all the codes that you can basically copy paste without any problem. As I explained before, you can also have the Forgetfulino on-demand functions. It's basically the same with on-demand here and here. So if we upload that, now we have the on-demand function. So we write Forgetfulino on serial monitor, and we will have the dump that I showed you before. And that's it. The same story, basically. Okay, so now let's have fun with another code. Here, this one is called lengthy pastel for a reason. As you see, it's quite lengthy, and I want you to see something more. First of all, we have libraries, and second of all, we have multiple files in this sketch, and I'll show you in a moment why. So first of all, I want to show you the dimension, the size of this sketch on the flash without Forgetfulino. Oh, that was an old one. Okay, cool. So here we have the flash value, so 7% of an Arduino Mega. So let's see now if we inject this code that has no Forgetfulino in it. We inject this code with the Forgetfulino. Let's see now the size in the flash. As we can see, the dimension, the size of this sketch went from 7% to 10%. So it's not super heavy, but you have to take in consideration that it's more than it's almost more than 50% of its own length. So if we code with this Forgetfulino, we have to take this in consideration. So let's go to serial monitor. I want to show you something cool. So first of all, if we print this dump and we decode it, we have different cool features. First of all, we've been told that we have two files. That's true. We have the lengthy pastel, and that's true. And also at the end, we have the test tab.ino with the test function. It's basically this tab here. So we have multiple file in compatibility. Another cool feature is that here you can see the version of the library. It could happen that you need the version of the library when you have to re-upload the sketch in a second moment. So what I want to show you now is the same sketch, the one at 7%, but printing not the compressed dump, but the plain source. As you can see here, we have 19% of program space. This is something we have to take in consideration, especially if we are working with large projects. So yeah, that's quite useful, and we can see the code right directly from the serial. But the point is, as you've seen, as I've shown you before, decoding and decompressing the string is so easy that at a certain point I don't think it's even needed to have this code in plain view. So brilliant! I think that's everything for today. I hope you liked the video, but most importantly, I hope you like the library, the extension, and the workflow I created. Thanks also to the comments in the Arduino forum community and the Reddit Arduino community. All the comments, the critics were really helpful to improve the library and the workflow, and all of the things that you've seen here are basically their comments and their critics most of the time. So really welcome all kind of critics here, and yeah, I hope you will use the library, but you will not stop using JIT. You will not stop doing backups and versioning. So if you do, I will hunt you at night. Don't do it. Don't lose good habits because you have good tools. That's a good phrase to end this video. So yeah, I hope you want to leave a comment in this video, a suggestion, especially regarding the compression. If you have any advice to compress the dump code even more, you're more than welcome. That would be amazing. And I think this is a good tool to have in our sleeves, and we can use it when needed. So it's good to have it, and I wish I had it before, as I said at the start of the video. And yeah, that's it. So have a nice day, guys, and have a nice coding. See you around.